Good morning, at least it's morning here in Pennsylvania. It's snowing today a little bit. Looks really nice out in the woods. If you don't have to travel, that's a good thing. Anyway, this is going to be the second video in this series. In the first video, introduction, we did a little neckerchief slide with your troop number on it. That still needs to dry some, but you could use it, and it needs to get a clear finish on it to protect it and to preserve the bark and things. Let's try and step up just a little bit. I have prepared some more. Just like in the first video, I cut it to length and drilled a 5/8 inch hole, and then chamfer the outside edge and chamfer the edge on the inside. Oh, let's get my glove on here. And then chamfer the edge on the inside so that your neckerchief will go in easily and not catch. Just clean that up a little bit. And here I'm using the paring cut again. My thumb and my finger and the tip of the knife. Start shallow, light cuts, and then you can open it up a little bit more as you go along. Later, when this piece is dried, it would be a good idea to sand that. It won't sand very well right now while it's wet. And then if you can see down on the inside, there's some hairs from drilling it while it's wet. Take your knife straight in and just kind of chase around that a little bit. You don't want to make the hole too big, but just chase around it a little bit to clean out those hairs. And you won't get all of them while it's wet. That's another thing that you can do once it's sanded. I think for this slide we're going to try and do an arrowhead, or probably more likely it's a spearhead, although we a lot of times call it an arrowhead. The arrowheads were actually quite small compared to a spearhead, and I know a lot of times we call what is really a spearhead an arrowhead, if you get what I mean. So for all of you Order of the Arrow guys and scouts that just want a nice little slide, let's try and do an arrowhead. I'm going to make a center line to draw it to begin with. I use a center line in many of my carvings. It helps me keep things proportional. You can see from one side to the other. Just a simple shape. Look from one side to the other, see if the curves look similar. If they don't, change them up. And as you carve, you can change it up, keep that center line there. I'm going to go with the small blade again to do this part of the carving. And back to the paring cut. Thumb, pinching together, cutting down on a shallow angle. I'm going to turn it over and then connect that shallow angle the same way. And lift that V out. Same thing on the other side. This is almost like a skill that they call chip carving. Chip carving was a Scandinavian style of carving, and it's usually done with geometric designs, circles, triangles, 3 chips, 4 chips, 2 chips, but they used it to decorate plates, furniture, knobs. Again, I'm going a little different. I'm cutting away from myself and I'm using my thumb as like a fulcrum for a lever, but I'm still cutting on that low angle. Now I'm back to the paring cut and I'm going to try to lift that out. We're going to go pretty deep with this, where the arrowhead or spearhead would fasten to the shaft. I'm going to go back some more, using my thumb as a fulcrum and pushing away from myself, then to lift the other part of it out, back to the paring cut, and try to make the lines connect at the bottom. Get it as clean as you possibly can. And we're going to kind of do, not kind of, we're going, well anyway, back at it. I have to apologize for the starts and stops in these videos. My phone memory will only allow me to video for so long, and then I have to go download it and pick up where I left off. I did order another camera that should solve that problem, but it hasn't arrived yet. Actually, it's been quite a while now. But I don't want to stall out on doing the videos. While it's snowing here in Pennsylvania, I have time to do videos and be in the shop and carve. When the snow stops and I can get out to work, I'm going to have to go do that. So, for right now, I'm going to grin and bear the video with the cell phone. I think we can get the idea from that. So, this would be the part where the arrow would be tied, the arrowhead would be tied to the arrow shaft, and I just keep making stop cuts and paring cuts to V it out. And you can already see that arrowhead's starting to come out of that piece of sassafras. And it smells so good. We'll round it off on the corners here a little bit. Cut this back just a little bit to make it more visible and bring it out. Paring cut again. Cut down into that notch. Make it as equal as possible. And then we'll go around where we did our V cut for the arrowhead part itself, shave away so that the arrowhead raises above the surface of the block, the round block of wood. Makes it a little more prominent. Going to deepen here a little bit. Again, squeezing. Very controlled, a lot of strength in your grip between your forefinger and your thumb. Tracing with the tip of the knife. Tracing with the tip of the knife. Both sides to deepen. And we'll cut some of that away. Around the arrowhead and begin to undercut, go underneath a little bit, create a shadow line there. That shadow line will make it look as though it's raised above the block just a little bit more. I'm slanting back and undercutting under the arrowhead. Using the thumb as a lever again to cut away. And back to a paring cut for this little chamfer. Thumb again as a lever to trace and undercut. And then cut away underneath. As a lever to trace and undercut. So you really have your basic arrowhead shape now. You can go with that and let it just as is. Of course, you'll want to clean it up a little bit. We still have the center line in there. But you can also make it more and more pronounced by continuing to deepen around it and remove a little more of the block. Picking up once again, the arrow's pretty much pronounced. Undercut as much as you want to make it stand away. That shadow line will make it seem like it's thicker, like it's bigger. Up at the top, we're going to V in, using the thumb as a lever again, a fulcrum for a lever. This would be where the shaft of the arrow or the spear would fasten to the point, the business end of the arrow or spear. Paring cut again, switching back and forth between that paring cut and that lever cut. Right here, where the string would tie around, we're going to V cut in, deepen that, and round it off a little bit, once again, lever cut. V in and round off. Clean that up a little bit. Round it back. Light little cuts. Just the tip of the knife, light little cuts. You don't have to make deep, deep cuts. If you find yourself forcing and pushing real hard on the knife, that's when you wind up slipping and cutting yourself. Deepen a little bit here. And deepen a little bit here. Just a little at a time, raising that out a little bit more. Pretty much you get the idea. Now it's a little dirty. We're going to clean that up. There's still a bit of the inside of the bark on there. And the other thing that we're going to do, if you looked at those arrowheads and spearheads, you noticed that as they chipped the stone away, they made facets, little gouges in the stone. So we're just going to take the knife and make little gouges, little round cutouts to kind of simulate that chipping of the stone. Back and forth. They're pretty irregular, so don't get in a pattern of making them exactly the same. Kind of work your way around the arrowhead, doing that so that they get different. Now, if you have a little wood burner at home, or if you're so inclined to go get one, there are very inexpensive ones at some of the craft stores, and there are some very, very expensive ones at woodworking supply and woodworking shops. You could maybe put your initials in it. You could put the initials OA for Order the Arrow, or whatever you see fit. But really, there's a nice neckerchief slide with an arrow pattern on it. Again, you can go around and deepen it some more. Make it stand out, make it more pronounced by undercutting. Taking a couple more little notches out to make it look like those stone chips or those stone facets. Well, where I ran out of memory as we were carving, I was pretty much finished with the slide anyway. You could fine tune that, make it a little better. But now we have a slide with our troop number, pack number, and an arrowhead. And they're both pretty attractive. The next thing, I thought I'd show you. I brought it up to the kitchen. Like I said, they need to be dried out. So I'm putting them in the microwave. And I'm going to go to 30 seconds to start. And let them toast for a little bit. Try and get some of that moisture out of them. When you do that, they'll stain better, they will finish better. You'll be able to put that clear coat on them. But don't do too much at one time. Just go a little bit. And they're warm. I can feel they're warm. I don't see much water cooking out of it. A little bit. Usually you can see some water boiling out or cooking out. The other thing you don't want to forget, sign and date. Make sure to get your name or initials on it. And make sure to get the date on it. So, I hope that these helped. Like I said, I haven't seen much out there about neckerchief slides. And these are great little slides for the beginning carver and younger scout, even older scouts if you never carved. If you like it, please subscribe to the channel. I need your comments, both negative and positive. I'm hoping that shortly the new camera will arrive because this one's really not working very well for me. And I'll try to get better at these. Next we might do a turtle shell, or maybe we'll do a tiki, but something interesting. But this is going to be number 2. The introduction was number 1. This will be number 2 in the series. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please give me your comments. Have fun.